All right, here we go. Anansi the spider and Rabbit were friends. They lived in a peaceful village in the mountains. Rabbit owned a big farm with lots of vegetables and fruit. Even though Rabbit shared generously with his friend, Anansi was unhappy and jealous. So Anansi thought of a clever plan to take over Rabbit's farm. Soon, Rabbit was left poor and homeless. Anansi was the proud owner of all of Rabbit's land, vegetables, and fruit. Okay, let's pause here. Who are the characters so far?
The rabbit and the spider.
And what's the spider's name?
Anansi.
Yeah. And what is the setting? Look behind them. What's the setting of this story so far?
In a farm.
Yep, Rabbit's farm. And also on the first page, you can see all these mountains in the background.
Village.
Yeah, in the village, they said we're in the village. And what was Anansi's clever plan?
Take over the farm.
Yeah, how did he do that? What was the clever part about it?
Oh, he like drew or created a sign said no rabbit.
Yeah, there you go. You spotted it. He put up a sign that said no rabbits. It has a big slash through the middle on the fence. How do you think Rabbit feels about this? Look at his face. How do you think he feels? One ear is flopped. His face is in a frown.
I think he's really sad. They used to be friends.
Yeah. They used to be friends, and I would feel pretty sad too if someone stole my land and all my vegetables. So what do you think will happen next?
Maybe the rabbit looks for help from her friends or yeah.
Maybe the rabbit's gonna go seek help from his or her friends. Definitely, that's a possibility.
Or maybe come up with a clever idea to get his farm back.
Yeah, maybe Rabbit will think of a clever idea too to get his farm back. Those are some good guesses. Let's keep reading to find out what happens. Anansi went to the market to sell his fruits and vegetables. He made so much money that he filled a basket with it. With some of the money, he bought maize for his family and put it on top of the money in the basket. Anansi happily headed home with his basket on his head, singing. He was thinking about all the things he was going to buy with his money. On the way, it started to drizzle. Soon, the drizzle turned into a heavy downpour. Anansi the spider left his basket on the side of the road to shelter under a tree. But from there, he kept a close watch on his precious basket. It started to rain even more heavily, and Anansi was getting cold and wet. So he ran into a hole. I will stay in this hole until the rain stops, said Anansi to himself. At least my money is protected by the maize I put on top of it. So let's remember, how did Anansi make all of his money?
He stole the farm and took the crops to market.
Yeah, he sold them all at the market, right? All the money is underneath the maize. Do you think it's right that he sold all of Rabbit's fruits and vegetables?
No, because it's not his efforts that he gained the vegetables and fruits. These were the rabbits. The rabbit devotes the time and energy in growing them.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the rabbit's fruits and vegetables. The rabbit spent so much time growing them and taking care of them. But Anansi just stole them and then sold it all and got the money for it. But then what happened to Anansi as he was walking home?
It started to rain, and then it rained harder,
Mm-hmm.
and he put the basket down.
Yep, so it started to rain, so he had to take shelter. So he's kind of hiding in this hole to not get so wet. But his basket's still sitting out here in the rain, covered by the maize. What do you think will happen next?
I think that something happened to the basket, and so finally the Anansi lost it.
Maybe something will happen to the basket and Anansi will lose it. Any other ideas?
Might it float away? Is it
Maybe.
sitting in a puddle?
Yeah, if it continues to rain really hard, maybe it'll just pick up and float away. All right, let's keep going. A little while later, Vulture was flying around and spotted the basket on the side of the road. He saw that there was money and maize in the basket. So he covered the basket with his wings and waited for the rain to stop. Anansi saw Vulture sitting on his basket. "Oh, thank you, my friend, for protecting my basket," he said to the Vulture. "Excuse me, Anansi? Did I hear you right?" asked Vulture. "Your basket? This basket is mine. I found it here on the side of the road." Anansi could not believe his ears. "It's mine, I tell you." Furious, Anansi went and reported the theft to the chief. But Vulture said to the chief and his elders, "How could anyone leave a basket full of money and maize unguarded on the road?" But I was watching my basket," said Anansi. "It's my money and my maize. I was looking after the basket when you came and said it was yours," replied Vulture. Oof, they're going back and forth. So what happened when Anansi was hiding from the rain?
The vulture saw the money and thought, it's mine. It's here.
Yeah. And you kind of answered the next one too, but why does Vulture not want to give it back to Anansi?
Finders keepers.
Yeah, finders keepers. He said, "I found it with nobody else around it. So I figured that nobody owned it and it was up for grabs." Who did they go to for help solving the problem?
The chief
The chief, and then who are these two guys next to him?
and his elders.
And his elders. Yeah, so the chief and the elders of the village are some sort of council. And so Anansi and Vulture went to this council for some help with the problem. How do you think the village elders will decide this matter? What do you think they will say?
Maybe they each must have some, they must share.
Maybe they have to share it.
Maybe they will find out that the basket was, the money was made from the vegetables grown by Rabbit, so then finally give it back to Rabbit.
Maybe they'll find out that it's actually Rabbit's money from his fruit and vegetables that Anansi sold. Yeah, let's see how they decide. When the chief and his elders had listened carefully to both sides, they sent Anansi and Vulture away. They discussed the story for a long time. Eventually, they reached a decision. They summoned Anansi and Vulture again. We believe Vulture's story, they said. He is not the thief. You were trying to claim something that was not yours. Anansi could not believe his ears. He burst into tears. The news soon spread through that the judgment had gone against Anansi. As he walked away, he heard Rabbit laughing and laughing. Rabbit went back to his farm and grew fruit and vegetables. But Anansi was poor again with no friends. So what did the village chief and elders decide?
They
That the
decide
vulture
to,
could have
Yep, that Vulture can have it, the money and the maize. And how did Anansi feel about this judgment?
sad, angry, and he might feel unfair.
Yeah, he's really upset. But if he's really upset, then why do you think Rabbit's laughing?
because Anansi did not get away with stealing. Well, he stole from Rabbit, but he didn't get to keep what he had stolen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like karma, right? At the beginning, Anansi was so jealous of Rabbit, so he stole the basket, sold all the fruits and vegetables, and made all the money. And then just like that, it got taken from him too. So Rabbit's probably laughing, saying, ha, now you know how it feels. Yeah, so it's kind of a little clever story like that.